Hi everybody! Blasted Cactus here, bringing to you the deck tech of a new standard deck that I have created. The first thing you may notice about this deck is that it is not American Aviation. The reason for this is because, well, when I created American Aviation on like the second or third week, that was like the second week Return to Ravnica was released, there wasn't a whole lot like it out there. I mean, there was some Restoration Angels deck, but there wasn't a lot of UWR, Resto Flash, especially with, you know, the stuff that I had going in it with the enchantment that made the flyers better, and the uncommons like the Tower Geist and the Lee of Sky Knight. And so, you know, it was a little bit of originality in the metagame, and it was doing very well, and I like that about it. And then I started playing it in the big boy rooms, testing it out. I was going to make some videos with it, and I noticed that a good 50% of the games were just red, white, and blue Restoration Angel. And it made me lose all interest in the deck, even though mine was a little bit different still. It was boring. It was very boring, frankly, to play against the mirror over and over and over again. The other 50% was probably Gruul, like super Gruul aggro. I mean, that's everywhere nowadays. So I dropped American Aviation in the interest of keeping things fresh, and I sat there at work instead of working yesterday and came up with this deck, which I call the Indestructibles. It started out with me really liking Falcon Wrath, Aristocrat, and I haven't really played a lot with her since Innistrad, and I wanted to make something with her in it. And she goes really well with the Skurzdag High Priest because you can sacrifice stuff and put on Morbid to get the demons online. So I was like, well, that's a pretty good pairing. Let me go with that. And then for a third color, I definitely didn't want to do blue because I always do blue. So I thought, well, how about white? You know, what's better than the Falcon Wrath Aristocrat? How about a Falcon Wrath Aristocrat paired up with a Silverblade Paladin, or a Thundermaw Hellkite paired up with a Silverblade Paladin, doing 10 or 8 damage with haste out of nowhere, making everybody pee themselves. And I also really like Frontline Medic a lot. So I decided that was a must include, especially against, you know, people still play Bonfire every now and then, and people still play the hell out of Sphinx's Revelation, so Frontline Medic takes care of that business, but also just making my first few guys indestructible as I attack, you know, before I get the Thundermaw or Falcon Wrath Aristocrat online is very good. Frontline Medic paired up with the Lightning Mauler, surprising everybody, making everybody indestructible on turn 3 when he is played. Opponents don't generally expect that to happen. So let's go through a little bit of the deck. I already talked about a lot of its pairings, but just card by card. Champion of the Parish. When I first made this deck, this was actually Stromkirk Noble. But then I realized I had a shitload of humans, so there was no reason not to play Champion after I saw that. I mean, with Skurzdag, Frontline, and Silverblade, and Lightning Mauler all being played no matter what, Thalia wasn't in the deck at that time, it would have been stupid to keep Stromkirk. So I traded him in for the Champion, and Champion's good because a lot of people who are confused and think I'm just playing a human deck are going to waste all the removal on the Champion of the Parish on the first few turns, and my more important dudes like the Silverblade Paladin and the Falcon Wrath Aristocrat and even the Skurzdag High Priest are going to be safe and in the clear when I play them in the future. Frontline Medic, same deal. So Champion of the Parish, if he survives, but he rarely survives, is good on his own, you know, paired with Silverblade Paladin. That's a classic move, but his real purpose is to be a decoy for all the removal in the format. Speaking of removal, I only have 3 Searing Spears, but that's enough. I'm the notch right below mid-range and right above aggro with this deck. So I don't need a shitload of removal. And Searing Spear is usually enough to deal with their 1 or 2 problematic dudes early on before I can just overwhelm them with a better attacking force. Boros Charm is there to make all my guys indestructible. I mean, everyone else needs protection when frontline medic is not attacking, and that's what Boros Charm does. I've never used it to deal 4 damage to a player, but I have used it to give double strike to a Thunder Maw Hellkite or Falcon Wrath Aristocrat for that last bit of damage when Silverblade Paladin was not online. So it's very good here, and I imagine if my board is wiped and for whatever reason, I don't know, things go poorly or I'm retarded and I don't save Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, like I sneeze and push OK and let all my guys die to a supreme verdict before I sacrifice something to the Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, it's good to know that I have the means to do some damage to my opponent without ending creatures the last little bit to save the day. Thalia against control, fantastic. I'm playing, it's 8 non-creature spells. I'm more than happy to make these cost 3. Thalia's hurts my opponent a lot more than it hurts me. And with the first strike, she's a good blocker and good tapper for Skurzdag High Priest after I get Morbid online. I generally don't attack with her, so I can make demons with her. Lady Mauler, I described before. I mean, my big dudes have haste, my little dudes don't. Lady Mauler gives this row haste. It's super useful. I'm not going to explain Silverblade Paladin and Frontline Medic. You know what's up, especially since I talked about them a little early on. Same deal with these guys. Thunder Maw Hellkite is good against tokens, which I haven't encountered, but I used to back in the day in Standard, and by in the day I mean like 3 months ago. Tokens were everywhere. Those stupid spirit tokens littering the skies. Thunder Maw takes care of that and finishes up the game. And Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, is another great addition to this deck. If any Planeswalker is going to be in this deck, it's going to be Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. His +1 ability with Falcon Wrath Aristocrat is fantastic because it gives her another means of protecting herself. If my board is wiped, and then I play the Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, it's good to know that Sorin can shit out a little Black Lifelink Vampire and be there for protection. Not to mention, the emblem is always nice. I'll never get to 6. I will never ever use the destroy up to 3 target creatures under Planeswalkers and return each card, put in graveyard this way on the battlefield. I'll never get there. But it's cool that it exists, but I'll never get there. So that's the deck, the Indestructibles. Hopefully we will win some games with it. I tested it a little bit. It's been stellar. But it's all well and good in the tests. It's when I record it that matters. So let's get going.